Hey y'all, if I don't do this now, I'm not gonna do this. So, welcome back to my channel. We're talking about the Beyond the Villa Villains season finale. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Please like, share, subscribe. And if you're returning, thank you so much for rocking with us. Let's get into both episodes because they kind of blurred into one another. So basically, the blonde bands was playing in everybody's face, and Beldasha, Coco, and Grayson, aka Charlie's Angels, because Charlie also was part of the squad that told them, not on my watch. We're not doing this anymore. Whatever y'all think y'all was gonna do to everybody, including Pepe, has to stop today. So basically, Clark's trip to Lake Tahoe happens, and Taylor surprises Clark, and he actually comes too, but there's a big scene when they're skiing where Iris and Beldasha have a little come to Jesus moment. Basically, after Beldasha catches Hannah and Iris talking smack about her in the pool area, I guess that's next to their room. So it's important to know before this conversation that Hannah and Iris basically showed their tail in the pool. They didn't think people was listening. They're talking about, I don't gotta be everybody's friends. It's exhausting trying to talk to people I don't like. Blah, 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 blah. And Bella heard them very well. And she called Iris out. She's like, I heard you talking smack. Were you talking about me? And Iris gonna try to lie, talking about how, I don't think I said anything. So basically, this is on trend. Iris been lying all season. Why would she stop now in the finale, right? So she also tries to play in Bella's face because she basically says she didn't like how Bella was trying to listen to Pepe's side instead of being a loyal friend. And Bella was like, first of all, there's two sides to every story. And Iris also shows that she's not trying to do right by anyone by basically saying that, why would you want to listen to the next side? So it's clear that Iris only wanted her narrative out there. And actually, there's three sides to every story. You know, your side, other party side, and then Jesus' truth. And Iris is not interested in anything but her own, narrative that she wants to push. So again, Bella was like, whatever, I'm a kind person. And this was a read in and of itself because Iris is not that. So she didn't understand where Bella was coming from and at least wanted to listen to somebody. And Bella was like, listen, you may want to, do whatever lying tactics you're trying to do, but I'm kind. If you don't know about that, I can't help you. And then Beldasha also addressed Iris, saying that she's not a good friend. And Iris again tried to play in her face and was like, well, just because I don't check on you and I don't talk to you and I get exhausted talking to you, you think I'm not your friend? And Bella was like, yeah, you're not my friend. We're going to have to just part ways, which was great because, again, Iris was just playing in their face. Also, you see Chris being weird to Coco. It's quieter now since I just finished pickup. But basically, he was sitting as far away from her as the East is from the West at the dinner table down to the Lake Tahoe Lodge. And she was still awkwardly trying to have a conversation with him. But basically, Chris told the guys that, yeah, it's basically done. But Coco begged him not to do it on camera. And I'm like, okay, this girl begged you not to embarrass her on camera. And you're still embarrassing her on camera by, at least not being a little bit more respectful, a little bit more, even friendly, not even lovey-dovey, but just like, don't ignore her. I felt like Chris was dragging the whole attraction to Coco. I think Coco is definitely a beautiful girl. I think he probably was attracted to her a little, but I think he did this whole pursuing her just to have a plot line because he did not seem to pursue her in earnest. And even at the end of episode 6, we're kind of, not 6, sorry, whatever the last episode was, I think it was 8. He was basically talking about how he's not looking for someone seeking princess treatment. He wants somebody who's like more grown and older. But I don't think Coco was seeking princess treatment. I think she's just seeking some level of confirmation that you actually care about her, willing to sacrifice a little bit for her, because at the end of the day, It seemed like Chris wanted to be the princess. I think Chris think he's the birthday because after he expressed interest, he really didn't put in much effort. So when it comes to the Chris and Coco situation, I think Chris was playing in Coco's face, but the blonde bandits also tried to throw Chris under the bus with Brian when the big confrontation happened. So let's get into that. So we get to the lodge, right? It's nighttime. They're playing some game where they're imitating each other. And Hannah goes and brings some mean girl stuff to the game by imitating Grayson, using some country bumpkin accent that I don't think Grayson has. And she says that Grayson's gonna take everybody's man. Now, when she said this, it made me think actually that maybe some of them TJ rumors were true. Because why would you say that she take people back? I don't think she did any of that. She was crying over Pepe, in the villa and on the reunion. And she switched over to Austin. And yes, there's this love triangle with Austin and Raven, but Austin claims he's for the street. So Grayson does not have that reputation. And to insinuate that she was taking people, man, that was mean. That was uncalled for. I would never want to be accused of that. And I definitely think that Grayson correctly is clocking that these girls have been consistently beat to her, whether it was ignoring her down to the Christmas party when she was, talking about her problems with Austin. They're also making fun of her outfit when she talked about how she wanted a wig when they were hanging out at that bar in Tahoe. Hannah was making comments talking about, okay, Hannah Montana. Like, they are showing that Charlie's Angels are not lying, that weirdness and negativity is being directed their way. And Hannah proved it, at this game. So then Grayson and Charlie get up to do their impersonation. And before they, even get to start their part of the game, Hannah again tries to, do this just girl bullying kind of stuff. It's like psychological manipulation where it's not like she's saying something nasty, but she's saying something uncalled for to throw Grayson off her game, because Grayson and Charlie were about to do their impersonation and Grayson just looked normal and was playing the game. And Hannah from the couch goes, Grayson, are you good? How you feel? Are you good? And she's basically acting like Grayson is a problem or showing some kind of problematic behavior or signs when Grayson was doing nothing of the sort. Grayson was confused. And Charlie also, again, seeing Hannah's weirdness and the vibes being off, rightfully said, nah, man, we're not playing no more. Y'all done killed the vibes. The vibe is dead. I'm not playing anymore. So then Grayson, who was so thrown off balance that she couldn't express that for herself, she basically says, okay, can I meet with Coco and Belle Dasha downstairs for a second? So she goes and takes her girls downstairs to kind of gain her equilibrium back, because Hannah definitely tried to throw her off her game and it worked a little bit. And then Hannah and Iris was going to try to flip the script and say, oh, look, they talk about us isolating them, but look, they're isolating themselves. They're going downstairs. It's like, yeah, after Hannah done said she's a man-stealing hoe and, tried to call her out for being weird when she wasn't doing nothing of the sort. So, again, they were playing in everybody's face. And they decided that they were going to, ambush Charlie's Angels and them downstairs. So before Iris and Hannah ambushes them, Hannah also says she has a flight, so that's why she's kind of acting like she's gonna want to be done with everything quickly. But at the end of the day, she starts mess and then does everything to get out of it and complains. So again, Charlie's Angels, Belle Dasha, Coco, and Grayson are downstairs just basically confirm with each other that, yeah, them people is being weird. And Grayson was like, yeah, should I feel some type of way? Because I kind of do. And they're like, no, you're absolutely right. Them blonde bandits are being weird to us. And they're actually pushing buttons in a way that's nice, nasty, and passive aggressive. And we don't like it. And Belle Dasha also tells them about, the conversation she had with Iris and how Iris was basically trying to bring up Pepe again. And Grayson rightfully says in her confessional that, Pepe and Iris have nothing to do with none of them. So to give Pepe that much power and to keep using him as a way to like control other people and to dictate who and who could be friends is just ridiculous. So she's basically saying that like whatever Pepper and Iris have going on should be between them and it should not be affecting the girl's friendship, which she's totally right. So again, points to Charlie's Angels, Grayson, Bella, and Coco. And then after they talk a little bit, Hannah and Iris, the blonde bandits, come down to try to crash their conversation. And then Coco kind of leads the charge against him. It's like, listen, y'all is weird. You know we have to film together and be around each other. We're supposed to be a villa family. But we heard y'all talking smack, talking about how y'all are drained around us and how, you know, you don't want to be our friend. But this basically uncalled for and you're making the vibe weird. And Taylor and Clark run away from the drama. They're like, we don't want no parts of this. But Andreina and Amaya also join in when they see the situation. And shout out to Andreina for having Charlie's Angels back. So she's like, yeah, basically, y'all are weird. And Hannah, again, runs away from, you know, the confrontation. Basically says she's drained, she's tired. And while she's talking, some of the boys are eavesdropping. I think Jeremiah, Chris, basically a bunch of the boys eavesdrop. And Hannah, before she goes, throws Chris and Brian under the bus and basically lies and says that when she was at the pool, she was not talking about Charlie's Angels and Bella and Coco, which we know she probably was. And she says she really don't want to be friends with Brian and Chris. And this was what made me kind of feel sorry for Chris, because Chris was just catching a stray. I think Iris was trying to still drag the club video scandal where Chris got caught holding somebody's hand in the club. So her and Iris decided that they're gonna fake support Coco, I guess, by being mad at Chris and say they don't want to be friends with Chris no more. But even TJ stopped Iris with that whole, you know, Brian being a villain too nonsense by saying that, listen, when it comes to the boys versus the girls, it's the girls that's switching up. Like, especially when it comes to Amaya and Brian, because Brian and Amaya had hugged and kissed on the cheek, basically, at the first group trip. So when, you know, Amaya basically told Brian that she don't want nothing to do with him and was being shady towards him, he even felt that it was a switch up. And then when it comes to Coco and Chris, they're not even friends with Coco. So for them to be saying that they don't want to talk to Chris behind it is just dumb, because they're not really friends with Coco. So the Blonde Blast was playing everybody's face and everybody was fed up with them. That's basically the nuts and bolts of the finale. And let's pause and talk about Amaya for a second with Beldasha too, because Beldasha also revealed during, you know, her time of saying I had enough of these fake women, she revealed that she did have the girls back and she was a girl's girl, because when Amaya and Brian had broken up, she had gotten a chance to do a brand deal that was lucrative. It was at least $20,000, I think she said. But since it involved her working with Brian and maybe like shooting pictures with him or filming content with him, she turned it down just to show her loyalty to Amaya, for how she also felt bad for how he did her. And when Bella said that, I was like, oh no, Bella won. Bella won this season, because she literally has these girls played in her face, even after she sacrificed, you know, money and success for them. And then they're still acting like she's the worst turncoat in the world for not being a girl's girl. And I'm tired of this girl's girl stuff, because at the end of the day, if someone is acting wrong and harming others, you do not have to ride for them, right? I'm Team Jesus over here. Everybody should just be Team Right. And Beldasha said, listen, I'm Team Kindness. I'm Team I do what's right when it's time. And even though she wasn't gonna ride for Iris and Amaya over Pepe and Brian respectively every single time, she showed her loyalty when she could, and she showed her kindness when she could, to both sides. And I know some people will say, well, they also have a high level of loyalty, but like Baldasha said, Amaya and Iris don't be checking for her. When she calls, they ghost her, and Iris said to her face that, she doesn't call her, and she thinks adult friendships involve, not calling or checking on people, which was a lie. And Amaya has said consistently on camera that she don't want to mess with Bella, and how she don't like how Bella's moving. So when TJ also confronted Amaya, Amaya cried and actually said how she really feels. She's basically said she's tired of being nice. The nice girl was an act, and she just wants a chance to F people over. And she's like, why can't I get the chance to say F you to people? And I'm like, girl, you have the perfect chance. Do you? But don't think you're going to have the same level of goodwill with people. And a lot of the fan base is not going for it. Because I even see people now making videos basically admitting that they were doing sympathy votes last season. And Amaya, while we all fell for, her self-affirmations, I really liked, that song, The Mirror to Herself, where she was talking about, at least I'm pretty, at least I'm a little funny, at least I'm my own best friend. I thought that was so good. It is a positive message, to the girls that need to encourage themselves. At the end of the day, if you go from, being the underdog and having to encourage yourself to being like, why can't it be my turn to ish on people and tell them F you and be mean? That's not going to go over well. So Amaya, you going down with the Blonde Bandits and Jeremiah in terms of clicking down, because these antics are not going over well. And the rapping, again, I actually blame the fans for that, because we gassed Amaya over that, that song she was singing in the villa. But at the end of the day, I hope she does well. She says she's struggling with Crohn's disease. And I think of all the bandits and villains in the villa, Amaya still have my sympathy the most, because I do understand that her health and her, mental health and physical health come first. So if Brian, doesn't give her peace and she wants to protect her relationship, all that is fine and good. But at the end of the day, you can't say that, you're tired of being a good person. Like the Bible literally says, don't be weary in well-doing. It's good to, stand up for yourself when you can, but not make enemies when you don't have to. Because at the end of the day, she never set clear boundaries with Brian, and to turn him into an enemy right after she made up with him was a little weird. And especially with Bella, all that was weird. There was also some kind of storyline involving Andreina and Jeremiah that got resolved somewhat, with Andreina telling Jeremiah, stop playing in my face. Again, that was the moral of the episode. Stop playing in people's face. Andreina was saying, stop flirting with me behind closed doors and then acting like we're just friends. The flirting just got to stop if we're just going to be friends, because if you keep filming with me, doing TikToks with me, flirting with me, kissing on me, other people are going to think you're my man, and you're not trying to be. So let me go get a real man. Jeremiah was acting like he was confused at first. Then the confession, he was like, oh yeah, I can see how she'd be confused about us not being friends if I continue to do things that are aggressively romantic. So yeah, Jeremiah was playing Andre in his face. And he played in everybody's face about Pepe too, because it came out that Pepe did not lie about having a gym or after school program. All the stars are aligning for everybody to see that the villains of the show is playing in everybody's face. Last but not least, my favorite part of the episode was Nick showing up wearing Nicolandria's chain. You can see it there. And he had a little talk with TJ, and they're talking about, their love stories and In this episode, Iris and TJ say I love you to each other, and TJ basically, tells Nick how he loves Iris, and Nick tells TJ that him and Nicolandria is trying to make it work, how they're both busy because he's DJing and Nicolandria is taking over the world, but they were, actually very patient with one another, and the stars are aligning since both of their schedules are slowing down and they're still getting a chance to see each other. And he was saying they had basically just hung out with one another, and he was wearing Nicolandria's chain that she bought him, and he was saying how, outside pressure has been, affecting them a little bit because apparently people complained about the Christmas gift that he got Nicolandria because people thought it was small, but he said it was brand name. I think he said it was Louis Vuitton or something. So he dropped a bag on Nicolandria, but people didn't think it was enough. But he says whatever. They're just praying that it works out. So shout out to Nicolandria for still staying strong. And Vulture, you're whack for tricking Nick into that interview and trying to, throw dirt on his name like TJ said. But at the end of the day, I think this season bothered a lot of people because the way people are playing in our face, especially in America, is getting on our nerves. Like, people literally be urinate on our head and telling us that it's rain. And I think when people see it play out on TV, it brings up a lot of the drama, because it's hard out here. We're in a whole war. People are out here being sent to die while other people are claiming that, no, we still for America, America first, but that's not what's happening. People, are actively being lied to about a lot of things, and then there's this hantavirus scare. It's a lot going on. So when we watch these shows to escape, and we see people still playing in each other's faces and not trying to be right, not even trying to give us a little break from the foolishness and the lying and the gaslighting and the microaggressions, I think that's just what bothers people some more. So at the end of the day, beyond the villa, you brought the drama. Y'all attacking that brown man Pepe like that. Again, it's too much with the climate that we have going on. So I'm glad most of the public sees that Pepe was not the villain. And Iris said herself that she only wanted her narrative out, and she did not want anybody to think about Pepe's side. So for that alone, I think that's why she got the bad ending, because obviously you can't craft a narrative that paints someone as a villain and a boogeyman and then not have proof and not even, allow the person to get out their side when they have their phone on with receipts and your phone is dead and off for fake. So yes, we had a time. We're ready for regular Love Island. And hopefully y'all can say how you felt about this season of Beyond the Villain in the comments. And remember, you're the master of your fate and the captain of your soul. Bye.